Tonye Aganaba. I use the pronouns they and them. I was born in England, but my family is from what's known today as Nigeria and Zimbabwe. But I've lived in so-called Canada for what feels like an eternity. 20 plus years? I don't know, something like that. I'm a musician, an artist. I paint, I make things. And I'm a community organizer. I organize with the Defund 604 Network, which is an abolitionist organizing collective based in so-called Vancouver that is organizing to end police aggression and repression and fighting for justice for all those who have been affected by police brutality and violence. I have been a part of GroundUp since day one. GroundUp was started as a response to grief, honestly. Randy Ponzio, who is such an incredible artist who changed a lot of lives in the city, was kind of like a linchpin. I hate that word, but he was a linchpin. And he brought so many of us together, myself, JC, Paul, Sean Dimitri, David Morin, Alex Marr. We were all this beautiful ecosystem of musicians supporting each other and playing music together and hopping around in each other's bands. And Randy passed away, and after he passed, we kind of got together and trying to think about how we could best honor his legacy and honor the way that he so effortlessly brought people together and was able to use music and creativity and art as a tool to touch people in a way that is so unique. I honestly can say I've never seen it since. Randy was one of a kind, one in a trillion. And GroundUp was our way of keeping that spirit of community, keeping that spirit of connection, and keeping Randy's dedication to being in the streets alive and at the forefront of what we were trying to do as a musical community. Anybody who knows Randy knows that, yes, you would find him playing at Guild & Co., you would find him on stage at the Commodore, you would find him at any number of prestigious Vancouver musical institutions, but just as regularly as you would find him there, you would find him standing on the street on Granville and playing his heart out to the community and gathering huge crowds around him. And it's that constant connection to the streets that really propelled the outward pouring of so much grief, because so many people knew him, had interacted with him, had been blessed by his presence and his musical prowess in the streets. And GroundUp was our way of trying to make sense of all of that grief and pain, and also encourage folks to remember the legacy that Randy left, which is that our role as musicians, and this is a quote by Tony Cade Bambara, who is an author, a documentary filmmaker, abolitionist, all-around excellent person. And the quote is, "It's the role of the artist to make revolution irresistible." And Randy was that. Randy did that. And GroundUp was our small way of trying to harness all of the magic that he brought to the world and keep it going in a place that he called home. Well, when it first started, it was really focused on a few key artists, right? And I think we've heard from all of them during the course of this period. But it was focused on those key artists. And like you said, we had a really amazing time being able to tap in and connect with folks that were making R&B and soul and funk, hip hop, jazz, blues, all of the styles of music that Randy really cherished and performed. And what that did was enable us to, like you said, make deeper connections that, for me as a musician who makes R&B and soul, funk, jazz, blues, hip hop, that kind of stuff. Let's be real, Vancouver's a predominantly white town, so having this hub on Thursdays was such a great opportunity to bring together a seemingly disparate community that's making a style of music that's not, typically, thought of as, Vancouver style. But it really created a home for us to hone our our sound. For me, Thursday nights is where I learned how to do what I do. It's where I learned how to, I want to say, control a crowd. But I learned how to work with a crowd and to work with a band and to be flexible. And it taught us all so much and gave us so many opportunities to deepen our relationship with our craft. And the evolution of GroundUp has been really beautiful to watch too, because although it started off as kind of an insular project that was about creating a space for specific artists in Vancouver, R&B, soul, funk, hip hop, jazz, blues, it's been able to evolve and bring in outside influences. So there's been some really incredible folks that we've been able to include in the Thursday nights. Thinking back to my, Guilt & Co. heyday days, and some of the nights that we put together were absolutely incredible, where we had, I don't know, dozens of musicians up on stage, each of them just pouring out their gift and their love for the community and for their art form. So there's a lot of things about GroundUp that make it vital to this ecosystem. And to our own health and wellness as musicians and creatives. Number one, this is one of the poorest neighborhoods in Vancouver. There is abject poverty as soon as you exit the doors of Guilt & Company. So for us to not engage in an active reciprocal relationship of providing material support to organizations, initiatives, and people in this neighborhood that are actively doing what they can to address poverty, address stigma, address homelessness, address access to music education, anything that we as a venue and as musicians and creatives who get to operate in this beautiful $1 million venue in a astronomically wealthy neighborhood. When you think about the kind of businesses and organizations that hold space here, the very least that Guilt & Company could do, or that we decided that we could do as a group of musicians, was create a space for people to come, share their art, and also give back to the community. I think also GroundUp has been instrumental in ensuring that we have good relationships with folks that are around us, and also ensuring that musicians and artists know what kind of supports, services, resources, organizations are operating in this neighborhood, and that are doing the work to provide much needed support that is not available through municipal, provincial, or federal avenues. So it's, on the one hand, I'm like, if we don't do this, who are we? And on the other hand, I'm like, we're musicians. This is what we do. If people need help, we come through. That's what we do. Somebody calls you up and says, hey man, I'm doing a fundraiser for this. Can you come and play? We say, yeah, that's what we do. So being able to have a consistent, continual source of income and support for the community through Guilt & Company is just like, yeah, it's the least we can do.